Okay, so yeah, just one or two sentences now about the current state of things. So there were some work groups that worked on one, the membership states, and two, the roles inside of the community. And as far as I can see in the document, there we're pretty far with the proposals. So they seem to be almost ready, fairly ready. I also see that Boris added some information to the proposal. And we can completely finalize them. And maybe we can start maybe, voting. And okay, we get far, we'll look at we could create a for Boris to about the things that you added in your shall we look at the entire first? What do you propose?
Is it just me, or are you breaking up? I couldn't hear much.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. It's very laggy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was breaking up here too.
I'm sorry. Okay, I don't know what you heard and what you didn't. I could repeat, but only if you hear me better now. Do you hear me better?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay, I will try again. So, what did I say? I said we built two work groups for the membership states and the role explicitness to define states and roles within Fruithaven. And we got that far that we have now two proposals. I feel they are at a good 90 to 100% completion state, and we could go now through both proposals again, look into them, finish them, make them ready for 100%. And if we get there, we could even start with a mini sociocracy approach to pass them, if everyone agrees. And if we get even further, we could look at the next thing we could create a group for and create a proposal for.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, shall we look into, Boris, maybe you want to share the screen for the first proposal for the membership states and explain what you added?
Yeah, a lot of it was just I filled in. So yeah, whatever's highlighted. I can't share right now because I'm on the phone, but I will try to switch later. Maybe you want to share it, or just follow the link that's over there.
Yeah, I can share the screen, and then you can talk about it if you like. So here we go. Now you should be able to see the screen. And this is the beginning of the proposal. We filled out here the membership states. So we got to this point that we said, okay, here we have membership applicants, we have trial members, we have full members, and we have also exited members and externals, people that are not directly related with the community. We defined who can vote, who can propose changes, who can hold specific roles, and who can buy land. So everyone can.
a quick
Yeah.
correction. I think at least previously the external is even owners that are not members. Maybe we can even dare to say that everybody right now is just an owner but not an actual member, because we filled out a trustee owner form, not a member form.
Yeah, exactly. So and the fact that we didn't specify here the owner as a state means that ownership is not a state inside of the community, but you can still buy land, right?
So in a way, well, I guess I just want to clarify, because you said they're not involved, but in a way, some owners might be involved. So it's just that, yeah, the attribute can be an owner, and they're still considered external or / exited. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to
Exactly.
clarify and maybe
No, that's
check
good,
if
yeah.
everyone is in agreement with this idea, or they prefer to kind of change this idea or propose another one.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And additionally to that, we can also mention that if you are an owner, you can become a full member as well. So you're not excluded. So you could go through the process of being an applicant and a trial member and then a full member, and participate in the governance of the community. Exactly. Yeah. Anyone wants to say something about this topic? I guess it's an important one.
Yes, I wanted to ask, because it changed a bit from when we were working on it, the meeting where I was last attending also. This with the like a owner and owner member kind of, these dates of course can be separated like this, but we had it more like the roles, I guess we had defined them. But this with, I'm thinking that an owner, like it would be nice if it is kind of assumed that they are, all owners are kind of members or wanting to be members, at least, not just, yeah, you can be an owner and that's that, and then you can become a full member, but more like with ownership kind of comes the expectation that one is a full member, except for when you're inactive for a certain period of time, or kind of choose to exit.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the perspective that I gained during our conversations is that there's also the wish to have external owners. And as far as I know, there were no owners so far that went through a process of becoming a member. So it doesn't mean that owners cannot be involved in decisions around ownership. Yeah, that can be, I could imagine there could be separate meetings that are only about ownership of land. But we want to clarify in some way that there is a separation between these two, so that full members can make decisions, governance decisions about the community itself. Yeah? And that when you're an owner, you're not necessarily directly inside. You're not excluded, but you're not explicitly directly a full member automatically. So this is how I understand it, at least at the moment.
Well, with the exception of myself, I think I was the one that went through a membership process, which was separate from ownership. And I think, as far as I know, I'm the only one at the moment, at least, that did this. Like, there was a trial period. I was here 6 months, not consecutively, so 3 months on, and then another 3 months or whatever it was. And then there was a meeting, and I passed the consensus test and all that. So it went through a process of, there was actually meeting minutes saying like, okay, Peter reads this, and he passed the test, and this and that, and then there was consensus at that meeting passed that I became a member. So maybe we don't have to do it this way in the future, but anyway, this is the idea that we want to propose now.
Okay, so but I'm thinking that the owners who are presently living there and kind of wouldn't they be assumed to be full members also? It seems it just if I look at it from their perspective, it would be weird, like living there and taking part in the community for a long time, and then suddenly, not even everybody in the community, but a few people comes up with this kind of organization and structure. Then suddenly they are not a full member anymore. That might seem a bit weird to them. Yeah.
Okay, I see your point. Well, that's what we discussed in another meeting, that like maybe we wouldn't obviously need them to do another 6 months. We could say, okay, they've obviously been here this time, but they didn't go through a process that I described, like doing a consensus test, watching the Consensus 101 video, passing the test, and then having a meeting where people review, kind of discuss, and then say, okay, that's either consent or stand aside or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess there has been a process of becoming a membership, and except Boris, no one has ever followed exactly these steps. And they were also, I mean, they were defined, maybe partly implicitly, but in the next meetings, we could look at that as well and create a fixed definition for how the process should be, how it is currently defined, and make it renew that definition if necessary. And every owner or non-owner that wants to be a full member, I think it shouldn't be a big problem for them to meet the requirements of this process and be a full member again. They are not excluded.
Yeah, I get that. I think that's okay. It's just that the wording, I think the wording is important so that people don't feel excluded, as a starting point.
And how would you phrase the wording?
I haven't thought much about it, except for these couple of minutes here now. But so I don't have a wording, but just that that we set up kind of expectation or environment where everybody, all the owners, are kind of invited and are there and expected to be like a full members, basically, but kind of more included from the get-go. Of course, it's difficult to include someone who is not participating, but still in the wording of it and how it's kind of proposed to the rest of the community, I think that would be
I think what's
think about that, and not just and not just be kind of technical, like you're an owner, but you can become a member, if you are approved. It's like that might seem a bit weird to people who have been members, owners, for a long time.
Yeah, I understand you. That's true. And I think the important question would be, where's this expectation rooted that members are, that owners are full members? So is it written down somewhere, or was that like an implicit rule that people assumed? So when
it was written.
It was written down
in the bylaws. It was it's
written in the
phrased
bylaws
as
that you're a full
trustees.
member?
Yeah, it's written as because like you see, like the definitions we had before or for members, owners, and things, they don't match what we currently come up with. So like, yeah, even though Boris is the only one that did become a member, the membership definition that was used back then is different than what we're going for right now. So in a way, yeah, Rob is absolutely right that like every owner is assumed to be a member, and maybe like a more friendly or inclusive way would be to say like, yes, you're invited to this, you're already a member, but to maintain your membership status, you have to meet these conditions going forth. So for example, like, yeah, they are a member from that time on, but they have to be active a certain amount of time per year or whatever.
Okay, I need to ask again very explicitly. So, is it written down somewhere that someone that is an owner is directly a member and doesn't need to follow the process of membership that Boris followed? This I want to make very clear, because if it's like this, then we should maybe consider including it. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you go in the bylaws documentation, or even sorry, Rob, I'll just say it real quick. And if you go in the bylaws documentation or you go into owner contracts, there's a definition of owner, and we also call it trustee. So it's owner/trustee, and the trustee's responsibilities are defined. They're way more than what a member has. A member is basically an honorary title that was given to people that aren't owners. So, but right now, in the direction that we're going, we're making a different definition of what the membership state is. It's not. It doesn't have much to do with what it was before. It's just they're similar in name.
Okay, well, trustee is a different word than a member. It's not a member. Member and trustee, yeah, they might be different. Sorry to. Again, it seems like you're saying that we assume that owners are members. It never said that anywhere, as far as I can see. If you can highlight and send us the screenshot, that would be helpful.
No, but I mean, it says in the bylaws, an owner has voting right, and owners are trustees, and they have voting rights and full kind of participation rights, all decisions for the table. So there's that.
Well, that yeah, we need to review exactly what rights they have, and it looks like. Oh no, yeah, Stefan is here. So yeah, have you seen something about that, Stefan, or?
No, I actually haven't. And if it's okay, I will use AI quickly to upload the bylaws, and ask AI about what's exactly written in these regards, if that's okay with everyone.
Yes, please. Thank you. It's a terminology issue. It's because we're using the definition of a member in the document, in the bylaws document, is different. It's not what we define membership state, full member, to be right now. So essentially, what the full member definition resembles the most is what a trustee definition is, and that's what we used back then. That's what we were saying. Owner is a trustee, has specific rights, has specific responsibilities, has to pay the budgets, has authority, has all kinds of things. And a member, it was something that was granted to somebody that's not an owner. It's somebody that came through a resident or volunteer path, and they stayed in the community long term, and they passed through they passed the consensus test, they passed the length of stay requirements, and that essentially granted them the ability to basically be a functioning member of a community without having obligations like a volunteer or a resident would have.
I don't think it was specific to whether they're owners or not, because if I passed this in the time that I was already an owner, so there was no conflict with the fact that I was an owner and a member. Those are like two separate things.
Yeah, but Boris, why would you go through that process if you already know that you're becoming an owner?
I was already an owner. I did that because it's a different state. As we're discussing, we have states and we have attributes.
Yeah, well, I can already tell you I'm not going through that process.
It's your choice, I suppose.
No, but seriously, that the way it was as an owner becoming a member. Yeah, you might have this other state or something, but it would make no difference because the owners were already full members, so to speak, because they had all the obligations and rights,
Well, we're not going to take away those obligations and rights. We know that owners should still pay into the budget, and if they choose not to vote, not to be a part of it, that's their choice.
Yeah, well, that would be another thing. So, for example, I would say that owners would basically automatically be members now as we're starting this, because that's the way they always have been. But then we then have different requirements, for example, a certain level of activity or this or that to remain a member, then they would have to fulfill that to remain a member, or they could also just choose to not be a member, of course. But to, as a starting stage, take away their kind of membership rights, it will probably not be received in a very good way.
I think we're mixing up the terminology, members and trustees, right? So everyone's a trustee. We're not taking away your trustee from you. We're just saying that we have this other status that's called a member. And the member, no one has gone through this process except for me. Now, maybe you're going to say, what's the benefit? Why become a member? Okay, maybe, you know, because what does it give you? Because obviously you're an owner, you can do what you want on your lot. So that's where maybe we can figure out, is it worth doing this, or do maybe we don't need it?
But Boris,
No, but you have to stop. Wait, can I just say this, please?
Yeah.
There's a difference between owner and member now with this new proposition that we're kind of putting together, or this new system. And there's also a difference between member and owner in the past, but those are very, very different things. A member in the past is not a member in this new system. So that would have to like start over completely.
Yeah, that makes sense, because we're doing a new process. Then I can forget the fact that I've done it before, and we could just all start off and do this again if it's worth it, you know, because it sounds like if Tim says he doesn't want to go through this process. Okay, Kaylee wanted to say something.
Yeah, I like the idea that if you could say everyone's a member, but if you want to continue being a member, we have to do the new, I don't know, whatever.
Oh, okay. So I guess she's trying to say we can default that, like, okay, we're starting out, everyone's a member. But the thing is, we have a specific process that we might want to implement. For example, passing a consensus test, like to understand consensus 101 video, and whatever else, like requirements we might want to include.
perhaps it's better to use a different word that's not a member, to not confuse people in the future, or you know, whoever we're pitching it to, right? Like the other owners will be pitching it to. Like, what if they look back at the terminology that was used past, and they'll kind of, you know, connect it to the past documentation, and then have it to be confused, like, because it's essentially just the word that's the same, but the definition is completely different.
But when in the past did we ever say that an owner is a member? I've never seen that ever mentioned.
But
No, it was never mentioned that an owner was a member, but an owner had all the obligations and the rights, and more so than what was called a member. That could be someone who has been living there for a while and then become a member. So don't kind of mix those things up between then and now.
Yeah, exactly. So in the past, basically, we had some membership state that didn't really have many rights, and it might still not have many rights. I'm not sure. We didn't define what rights. I think we talked about that they can have any role that they wish, so it would be more like that, I guess. Stefan, did you come up with something with the AI?
Yes, I did. So it doesn't clearly state that a owner, also called a trustee, which is the same, is automatically a member. It's not stated anywhere. According to AI, I need to say. So if you find something else by looking manually, that's absolutely fine, and that's more important than what AI says. But so it says an owner is just a legal property holder, and it comes with obligations and rights. And in some specific things, topics, they can even override the community members' decisions when it comes to, for example, risk, or for let me find the place again before I say something wrong that I'm making up. I don't want to make anything up. So yeah, property value decisions, legal risk decisions, and in some cases they can override community members' decisions when it comes to the ownership. So there's a clear differentiation already between a trustee and a member. And it says, are trustees automatically full members? No, this is a key distinction. The document clearly separates trustees, in brackets owners, and community members, which is a social role with voting power. Relevant implications: trustees can live on the land, but they are not automatically community members. They do not automatically have voting power in community decisions. So structurally, ownership is not a governance power, and legal rights are not social political rights. So there's a clear distinction between these two.
The definition of member is different, right? Like you're using the definition of the documentation.
I use the definitions of
Yeah,
the
it seems
bylaws.
to me you just keep mixing up. Keep mixing up the meaning of member from the old bylaws and the old ways with the new way of thinking, or this new system, seems to me. So like members in
For
the
me, it seems to
past,
be a
they
technical.
were like you can disregard that completely, and owners were the people that had like a decision rights, in the community, really, or like a more I guess a member who was voted in could also make some lower level decisions, and take part in those processes. But really, it's like the owners are the ones making the big decisions regarding, everything more meaningful. So those would be the members in the new system.
Yeah, Stefan, in that previous definition, as Rob says, like the members, they didn't have like what do you call it, like budgetary decisions. Like they had maybe community house decisions, like such as like I don't know, quiet hours, or what time to turn off the Wi-Fi, but they didn't have like community wide decisions like the trustees had.
And my understanding, owners and trustees are the same, right? We're all on the same page, right?
Yeah.
Yes, as far as I know,
Okay,
yes.
Good. Then the only question is, I mean, as I understand now, so owners were always treated in a way like members in the past, but it was never written down. It was like an implicit rule and an implicit expectation. Now is the question, do we, with the new proposal, make that again clear that there is a distinction and that we don't want to follow, or you don't want to follow this old path of including members in community decisions, or you want to define it now, make it very explicit that owners are explicitly included in community decisions and they're automatically full members. So these are the two big questions, I think, here that we want to focus on.
I would honestly change the word member to make a distinction from
I
the
would like
past.
to. Am I still connected here? Oh, hold on.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. Sorry about that. Can
You're
you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Nick, what would you propose to change that name to?
Can you hear me now?
Oh. Yeah, I hear you.
In the meantime, maybe Nick, you can tell us what your suggestion is.
Yeah, so while Rob is fixing these things, well, look, I like this, like, for example, like the sound of certain words. Like, for example, member sounds good. It's like, okay, you're a member. You could be excluded. You could be exited. Like, a member requires participation, right? So I would look for a word that's like that as well. That's sort of like that has the same meaning. Like the word trustee, for example, is really good as well, but it's just like it's already used, then it might get more confusing. But trustee has the word trust in it. You trust them with the decisions of the community. It's got a nice connotation to it. So I would be looking for like a similar type of word that we could use going forward that is not confusing and is not mixing previous words.
I think that according to what Stefan said, and if you look at the actual bylaws, not what you think. Like you said, oh, the members could be, yeah. Like I think it does say they can be overridden by owners. Oh, Rob, are you
Man,
ready?
it seems like my microphone might be working, but I'm not hearing anything. I might have to disconnect and connect again.
Yeah. So anyway, I think, yeah, if we look at the actual previous definitions, we're not really changing a whole lot. Like we're just kind of, instead of saying maybe a member, we're doing also full member, we're calling it, and then there's a trial applicant or whatever it was. What was it? Trial, yeah, membership applicant, trial member, and then full member. So basically, those are just the differences. Like previously, it would just be volunteer and then member, and that's kind of, and then trustee, right? That was kind of, but we could still keep the trustee. We could say, okay, the owners are trustees or whatever, just not to change anything around. So we're just kind of adding the applicant, trial member, and full to the member. Now the member, let's say, existed. Now maybe we change it or not. I don't know. It just depends on what you guys think. I think, to be fair, I already gone through the process, watched the video and this and that, but I don't mind, let's say, doing it again just as a refreshment, and also to be on the level, let's say, of other owners that would like to become members. So first, obviously, we would offer it to the owners and say, look, there is something we kind of overlooked. There is a membership, and I don't know, that's just my thinking. I think it's good to be consistent and say this is how things were written in the bylaws. We're just updating certain ideas, like now it's a trial member and a full member.
Yeah,
exactly. So
sorry,
it's not about
my head.
finding a good or like changing everything. It's about clarifying everything. So it needs to be very clear and explicit, everything. So this is the Arcos meeting, and Arcos says exactly this. So make things very explicit. Don't leave any room for imagination. And whatever that is good. And if that helps with adding a trustee state, membership state, then that's it. We could deal with it this way.
Can anybody hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay. Yes. Sorry. My headset was acting up, and then kind of Telegram freaked out, so I had to log out and in again. So I missed a bit there. But so we're still talking about this with the kind of full member and owners and trustees and stuff, and maybe as we were talking about before in the previous meeting where I was in, it was like an active member, and you had to stay active. Like when you are not active for a while and unresponsive, then you kind of lose your voting rights, so that decision processes can continue and stuff. So maybe that can be folded into this full member, like a full active member, for example, or is that just kind of too complicated with the wording, or is it just more clear?
Yeah, I think we can define the membership, full members as we'd like. So I think, yeah, just to catch you up, Rob. So I was saying that we're not trying to change anything too drastic. We already had membership is kind of a state, and then yeah, maybe the trustee was a kind of state. I'm not totally sure if we want to include that now, but I like the idea of calling owners just an attribute, whether it's an owner or a trustee, doesn't matter. But of course, their obligation is going to be the same as always, and they can participate in the conversations and maybe even vote on stuff that's discussed, whatever, for their community budget or something. I don't know. But the membership, yeah, or maybe they can't do it until they're members. So in that case, we have to kind of think of a fast track solution to make owners members, and then I don't know. Yeah, those are thoughts.
Yeah, when I can, if I
Yeah,
can throw in my
do you have
opinion.
to say about
Sorry,
this, Tim?
sorry, Rob.
About I think there's a lot of, I think there's quite a bit of delay for me, so that's why it's a bit difficult speaking over each other. But Tim, what do you think about this having like the older automatically members or super streamlined kind of way in this system for them to be appreciated as full members? And then of course, if they don't want to, they can choose not to. Or if they just remain inactive, then they would fall off that state and be more like a exited member or inactive member, not have the voting rights, for example, stuff like that.
So yeah, Tim doesn't seem to hear us, or he cannot speak. Yeah, if I could throw in my opinion, I mean, I'm from outside. At the end, it's up to you what you want to do. But I see it that way. Everyone wanted to follow always the bylaws and what was written down in the best way possible. And I think there was some confusion about this topic, and it still persists. And to clarify it, you could stick with what was written down, which is that owners are not members, so they're usually not included in like community governance decisions. And if they want to, they can go through this relatively simple process. We can even simplify it for people that are owners, and they can onboard and become full members. And then everything is very clear. It's very simple. And I think that like simplicity is very important at this point because of all this confusion that has been followed. So, but that's, as I said, only from my opinion from outside, and whatever you like, I go with you, and we're going to do it. I only want to force explicit rules here.
Yeah, I second that. It makes
Yeah.
sense. Like we grant, maybe we streamline it for the owners. You know, maybe make them already as members, and then just like set the conditions that like to maintain your membership, you need to be present. Simple.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah,
with that. But
we could
what
add
Stefan just
a sentence in the proposal for that explicitly sets describes an exception for this day that all owners are full members, and that we will define in the future what active members or full members need to follow in order to stay full members. So basically, people, owners that don't follow this process that will be defined in the future will be exited members at the end, but still owners, of course, with all the rights and obligations.
Okay, that's an interesting idea. You guys are basically proposing that would be the main change we would propose, and it sounds like something that would be more likely to pass if we say, okay, we had this membership state and we're just going to update it, and everyone kind of automatically becomes full member. Now, my concern a little bit, I'm not sure if other people might feel that way, but so I passed some consensus. I watched 1 hour of Consensus 101 and I put a test, and then there was consensus being passed in a meeting. Now, yeah, the tricky thing is like who's going to be responsible to kind of vote on it if we don't have members, right? If there's nobody, or we just kind of use the whoever responds method, or so because I'm thinking that if people haven't watched this video or refuse to watch it, then they're maybe not going to know how to work with the consensus method or whatever method we might want to use, like what Stefan was suggesting, the limited sociocracy. So maybe what we should do is automatically make every owner a trial member. So you skip the membership application when we become a trial, and you have time, let's say, I don't know, whatever we propose, 6 months to 1 year to watch this video. And then other people can sort of review your questionnaire or something. I don't know. Anyway, those are just ideas. But I'm also okay with doing the full member and then kind of dropping people off and making them exit because they don't answer. Yeah, or like expire maybe their membership.
Yeah, I agree with that. What Boris said last time. So I think that makes sense. Also, we don't want to like tell a former member, owner, trustee that yeah, now you're suddenly only a trial member. You know, that can be perceived as an insult if they're already a bit like a skeptical or something. So definitely full member, and then they have to continue to kind of satisfy the requirements to stay a full member.
Hi, this is Kaylee. Yeah, I like the idea of just saying everyone's a member and this is what we're going to do to continue the membership. And if people don't respond, then their membership expires. If they do, then they continue being a member, quote, quote.
Okay, so with that, then we would have to define the exit strategy. That way we can we'll be exiting the members from there on. If either people don't respond or maybe they don't respond correctly, if they just say, I don't like it or whatever, we can give like certain amount of warnings or something like that.
Okay, so are we up to date on where we were, and can we go forward?
What do you mean?
Yeah, I guess the main difference is now we're deciding that yeah, everyone is an owner, gets an automatic membership from a certain date or whatever, like Stefan said. Maybe it'd be worth sending like a email to everybody with this proposal and then see if there's any resistance. I mean, it should be an easy pass, you would think, but let's see what people say. But then also defining, like Stefan's our post says, to define everything. So we need to really go through and define the the exit strategy and all that. I think would be important.
Is that where we at? Because there was some things that were still left to fill. I'm looking at the screen being shared, or we're making general decisions, kind of like picking at things.
I think it's a discussion overall. We're just trying to come up with a proposal to make. I think that's where we're at. And there were the roles. So we talked about roles. I don't know if we have to really go too deep into those, but we already have a bunch. You guys, Nick and Stefan have worked on that. So maybe Stefan, let us know if this is complete at this point. Should we move on to the roles?
I think what we just talked about now in this meeting, I think it's very important, and I would love to write this down, exactly what we said now, make it explicit in in this statement, as it is still fresh in our heads. And I would love to take 1 minute to maybe use AI to create a statement about exactly this that summarizes all of this and add it into the proposal, and then we can continue. Is that okay for everyone?
Sounds
Yep.
good to me.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, then I will take 1 minute now to create this proposal. I hope I will be fast. I will try my best.
So from the previous membership state document, I think we still had obligations table to go through as well. Do you guys see it opened? And there was underneath another table where we had the triggers, state transition triggers. So we were missing how to transcend in the full member to, and then the exited member as well. Those are the two boxes.
Oh, that's a good point. So if a person becomes an owner, do they automatically get to be a member, like new owners as well?
So I shaped now something that we can all read together now. To answer your question, Boris, I think no. So if we would accept it this way, how I wrote it, then this is an exception for current members. So I can read it out loud. So all current property owners shall, effective upon the passing of this proposal, be granted the status of trial member. They will have a period of 1 year to fulfill the requirements for becoming a full member following the standard process. This process includes completing a one-on-one consensus training video, passing the associated quiz, and accumulating at least 3 months of non-sequential residency within the community. Is there something else? Maybe I forgot, or maybe it shouldn't be 1 year. We can discuss these things, but does everyone confirm with the structure of this?
I thought we were doing full member automatic, and then you're required to have these things to maintain it.
Yes, exactly.
So not a trial member as Boris proposed. I thought it was the last thing. So status of a full member, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then
You
they
will
need
have
to
1 year to
fulfill the requirements for
maintain.
staying, yeah, to maintain, yeah, for a full membership state following the standard process, or yeah, following the standard process of becoming a full member, right?
Yeah. Maybe the process includes reviewing. I think we can assume that everyone's seen the consensus video. And if they didn't, they have to review it.
Okay.
No, I don't think we can assume anything. That's the point of Arcos.
Yeah, don't make assumptions. It's true. So, yeah, completing or reviewing a one-on-one consensus training video, passing the associated quiz. Okay. Something else? Should it be 1 year? Should it be 6 months? Should it be 2 years? What are people
Yeah.
saying?
I think 6 months, I think, is good.
Can I also suggest something for the membership?
Absolutely.
The NVC 1 hour video from Marshall Rosenberg. It's so good. I think it's really important. Tell me, what do you guys think of that?
I think it's a good idea, especially with the history of Fluid Heaven, having it that, and also the recent years with some violence in the community. I think it's worth that being included.
I agree with that, and actually, it was expected in the past also. This NVC kind of training, awareness, and implementation. Except, of course, a lot of the people, and maybe the main people in Fluid Heaven, did not implement it. But when we're speaking about it, but yeah, I agree with that fully.
Okay, so shall we specify it here what a video it needs to be? I think that's what it's about now, right? That's what you proposed, Kelly, to add to explicitly define which video it is. MBC, I think. I don't know it, so I'm guessing now.
I'll send you the link.
Ah, okay, good. Okay, we can also define here. Ask Kelly for link. We could do that too,
Also,
but yeah,
I
better
want to
maybe to
say
include the link directly in here. Yeah.
that what she's talking about is different video from the consensus training. It's an NVC for non-violent communication.
Okay. Ah, okay. So that would be an extra thing, an additional thing. I thought it was consensus
Yes.
101. Okay, then completing, reviewing a 101 consensus training, passing the associated quiz, completing, reviewing a.
There is a specific link to the Consensus 101, which I can also send you that.
Yeah. Or you can add it in here. I mean, everyone can join
Oh, yeah,
this
I can edit,
event.
yeah.
So feel free.
About the NVC, I will suggest the most common video on YouTube, the San Francisco workshop of Marshall Rosenberg. It's the foundations of NVCs, and yeah, it's the San Francisco workshop with his red shirt he's wearing. I think that's the most commonly uploaded on YouTube.
Yeah, that's the one. Are you writing this on the Miro? I can add it in there.
not.
In the Miro board, yeah.
No, it's on the Google Doc.
Is this Google Doc?
Yeah, that would be better, actually. Yeah. In the Google Doc. I can also send an invite again. Here. I will send it to the community meetings group. I hope that works. Let me know if not. Okay,
And
Boris, you're also okay with what's written there so far? Not sure if you mentioned your opinion.
it's a little small on my phone, but I will review it. Yeah, I'm sure it sounds fine from what you read. Maybe you can read it out loud so we can hear.
Yeah, I can read it again. No problem. So the title is Transitional Membership Pathway for Current Members. All current property owners shall, effective upon the passing of this proposal, be granted the status of full member. They will have a period of 1 year to fulfill the requirements for maintaining a full membership state. Following the standard process of becoming a full member, this process includes completing and reviewing a one-on-one consensus training video, passing the associated quiz, completing or reviewing a non-violent communication video, accumulating at least 3 months of non-sequential residency within the community.
Maybe it includes like private lot people that live on their private lots, right?
I guess so. Shall we include that as well? If it's unclear, then we should include it.
The problem is it sort of mandates all the owners that aren't here to come here in the next year and stay here for 3 months.
That's actually a pretty good thing, isn't it? Unless you want to extend that
There
period.
might be many members or owners that are like a useful members and have good contribution to make, but don't have the opportunity to do that right now, and then they are kind of automatically excluded. While that would not be a great thing.
Yeah, good point. But maybe what we can do is include, say, like if they have in the last, I don't know, since the community began. Yeah. Since the community began, if they have visited for accumulated of 3 months or something, which I think some people would, yeah, many people would become members at that point, right?
Yes,
you
sure.
get-
The question is if there may be many people who want to contribute and take part in decision making and be a useful member, even though they haven't done that yet. That's the question.
I think online participation should be sufficient, at least for the current owners. For the future owners, that's different.
Yes, I think I will. That makes sense for past owners online to be also available, but all the new ones, yeah, to require residency.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense. Also, I
Okay,
think
good.
we should change the word residency with like a physical attendance at Fruithaven, because residency is a word that implies that you have legal residency in the country.
Okay, yeah, I changed it. Does everyone agree? I think it's a good,
Yeah,
good idea. That's what we mean. Yeah.
just like physical presence.
Physical what? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Physical presence, maybe even in the area.
Better.
And yeah, I don't know how to word it best in the cases like if they have. Sorry, they've been to the area in the past, whatever it might be, that since their community has been.
The other solution could be also that they have somebody doing something on their behalf physically on their lot.
I think that's getting too complicated. I'm not sure what.
Sorry, you mean that it's not possible to have someone living there on their behalf? They need to be personally present. Do you want to make that clear? Or did I understand?
No. I'm saying that instead of them personally being physically present, they could have somebody, like maybe even a power of attorney, or without requiring them to have a power of attorney, just like they're hiring people to work on their lot, right? And their lot is being developed, they're contributing to the Fruithaven project. Like, why require them to be present physically?
I'm not sure if I fully understand. Does everyone understand except me? Then it's fine.
I think Nick means the owners who are not present, at least them to developing their lots somehow and be some form of activity happening, even if they are from afar.
And you want to allow the full membership even if they're not present themselves, but someone else for them?
Yeah, because
Yes,
what is the
exactly.
point?
And
What
I
is the
think that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Like, what would be the point? Like, what is the point of this membership, right? Like, we want people to be active and participating, right? So if they're not able to be physically present themselves, but they're contributing to the budget, they're hiring someone to come on their lot and plant their trees for them or do whatever, right? Like working on the driveway or on the water systems. Like, why wouldn't that be enough?
Yeah, that's the big question. Do you want someone to participate in governance decisions about the community if they haven't been there in maybe 2-3 years or longer? That is the big question. I guess you need to you need to think about.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think that would not be
someone
a problem.
I think someone is worth being participating if those 2-3 years they're actively developing their loads, paying budgets, so they are actively doing things on the eco village. Yeah, that makes more sense them to be involved in decisions. But if are people who are not there in present, they don't develop their lots, they don't pay budgets. Yeah, maybe that's different.
Good point about paying the community budgets. Maybe that should be included as a point, because there are, as we all know here, that many owners that haven't paid, or at least some anyway, some that have not paid and continue not to pay or do only partial small payments or whatever.
I agree. Budgets should be paid to maintain membership status.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And what about meeting participation? Do you want to set some constraints there? I mean, that's what it's all about, no? The full membership is about letting someone participate in these things. So the question is, do you want to grant someone the right to participate, even if they haven't participated in maybe a year or in 6 months or in 3 months?
Well, look, we record our meetings, we post them. If Boris does nice summaries, so let's say they're not able to be present physically, like in person at the meeting, and they don't take the time to read the summaries or listen to the recordings. I guess that there's not a really good excuse, right? Like, because we're really going out of our way to make it inclusive, as transparent as possible.
It can be still inclusive if you set still some boundaries and constraints. I think it's still inclusive if you say you need to participate at least in one meeting every 3 months. I mean, someone will. I mean, if you want to be a full member, you can probably make it happen, no?
No, for sure. I agree. They should participate. Maybe like if they cannot participate in the meeting at that given hour, we specify that, like, at least respond or write your opinion, like make some sort of comments.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So yeah, you need to at least say I cannot, but if you're just silent, that counts as a minus point, so to say. And if you don't like it, or let's say the other way around, it counts as participation if you cancel and you say you cannot come. Could be an option.
I think if they like, as long as they consent, like as they voice their consent, for example, like I think that should be enough, right? Like we can not assume, but like granted they read the summary, they listened to the recording or something, they participated in some sort of discussion, or they just simply said, yes, I consent to everything that was said. That's good enough for me.
Yes, I agree. If the point is not that they should do this or should do that, but that they should simply be responsive and present in communication going on electronically or otherwise.
But that needs to be very clearly defined what it means. I agree with what you're saying. It can be an option, but we need to be very specific. What is participation? Like, what does it mean to participate or to be active? It's not enough to say they need to participate and be active. You need to specify it.
Or
Well, you know
participation
how
in
voting
meetings,
is.
participation in voting, for example. What other types of participation can there be?
Yeah, like in some countries, voting is like mandatory. It's like a legal obligation, right? And that meets the definition. Like, so, like, let's say you go vote and you vote like white card, like meaning you abstain from voting. That counts as voting. That counts as participation. That is like the minimum.
Okay, so needs to make or participate in voting, needs to participate in voting, and I need to specify it here what it means. So, or for how long, in which term? For this whole year, maybe. Needs to participate in voting.
Yeah, that's another issue, right?
Okay.
Because when do we require voting? You know, when is the decision makings are happening? Like, kind of in the past, it's been sort of like whenever. You know, maybe they need to be defined at terms. Like we have
Yeah.
Tim made a newsletter that's going to be coming out every 6 months, and then we're thinking of making it every 3 months, but for now, like every 6 months. So maybe that could be a thing, right? Like voting at terms, which are twice a year, maybe.
I think we should also include at least joining the community meeting virtually at some point or another, like within let's say what do you guys think? At least once in 6 months, once in a year, like it should be at some point, so you guys can decide what length of time there should be.
The way we had it before was that we vote for the budgets, and that's once a year. So maybe we can keep that same system, you know, like require that they participate in voting on the budgets, on the yearly budgets, you know, because that's when most of the decisions are made.
Yeah, I think that's a good starting point at least.
Would be voting. Okay, so voting on a budget for that specific community. But it's not something that we do collectively because everyone has their own budgets. So yeah, that's something we need to think about the maybe somebody would kind of be able to confirm, like, did they participate? Did they pay their budget?
I mean, ideally would be to maybe, I don't know how you guys do budgets in FH1, FH3, but maybe perhaps we can coordinate between the different Fruithaven properties and release the budgets at the same time. Maybe even use like a template.
Couple years we just repeat the same budget, seems to be fine, but yeah, people still didn't all contribute, so some that didn't. In this case, do we penalize them for the previous missed budgets, or do we just say, okay, they have a chance to pay and then become a member because of this transitional membership pathway?
Yeah, that could be like a thing, you know, like that could be like a notice, you know, like, oh, please pay your budget to avoid losing your membership status, or yada yada, you know, or like not losing but having your membership status paused. Suspended.
We don't have that. We excluded this suspension last time. There's no membership suspension
Yeah,
state
maybe,
anymore.
maybe there would be a certain warning, like you have a certain, like you said, like 1 year. Let's say they'll have that year, and if it's not paid within this year, then they're automatically exited.
Okay, what else? So I wrote now this here. I don't know if you agree on this. It was just an idea. So needs to participate in voting. Votes will be sent via email. Responses, I can add responses need to be as well per email. Okay. I don't know if you agree. You can change it if you want. That's just an idea. And I added join community meetings at least once in X months. Are you still there, guys? Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, good. Sorry. Okay, good.
This with response, I mean, responses are also, it can be like a Telegram discussions, and exchange of ideas and kind of voting there, or consensus there. That is definitely participation.
Okay.
And also this with the requirement for community meetings, maybe of course at least once per year, because that would be also but usually it's several meetings in a year, so it would be like
I mean, we're having now every week a meeting.
Yeah.
And potentially make decisions as well in these meetings.
Yeah.
There could be every week with a new decision potentially. Once we're going once we're getting to the easier topics, then it might be every week.
Yeah, we had like weekly meetings before also, but it's not that you have to be present at every meeting to be like a present member.
Yeah, that's the big question again. Like, who do you want to be a full member that participates in these things? Which constraints do you have? I understand you all want to be very inclusive and want to accept everyone in there, which is a very nice thing. But also see the other point, the other perspective from being a full member and making good governance decisions. Who do you want to have there as full members? Yeah. Who do you want to allow there to participate? Which constraints do you want to have? What's important to you to make good community governance decisions? So I personally, for my community, could say, I mean, I'm just hypothetically, if I would be in a community and no one is ever participating in meetings, let's say, yeah, and I don't know if there would be enough for my personal community, that I'm alone there, making my own, holding my own speech, and so that's just my opinion. But you need to think about who do you, also from the other direction. I'm saying not only from the inclusive one, but also from the constraining one. What do you need? How do you want your team to be that makes governance decisions within the community? That's the big question. And we're setting now some ground rules for that.
Yeah, but for example, if we set a requirement of 4 meetings attended per year, and I don't know, could there be a situation where there aren't many more meetings than that? In that case, it can be difficult. And also we have to realize that this community is for people who want to be off grid, in nature and building their homestead, basically their farm, their place to live. It's not about kind of participating in meetings. So some people will simply not have this as their main priority.
But it is an important thing, no?
Of course it is. But what I'm saying is that requiring that everybody, attend all the meetings, I don't think that is productive. But we have to kind of agree on a level participation.
But yeah, we also defined you can live on your.
What do you other guys say?
Yeah, if I can say one more sentence. I mean, you can still be there in nature, connected, living on your lot, and not participating in governance. That's absolutely fine. We're just defining here who do you want to make the decisions that are being discussed and voted for. Do you want to have members there that for them governance is not an important thing and they say, I don't care about anything, I just want to live on my lot? Do you want to still include them, or you want to explicitly exclude them because you're saying that's not productive? And that person could maybe just come with their opinion and block every vote, even though they don't care much.
Yeah, but
so this is the big question.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Yes, so that would be the extreme example, but to the point that you are bringing it up now, it's becoming like a straw man because nobody is saying that. Simply talking about what would be the required level of attendance of meetings, voting, decision making, and and I would not say that would be like a 80% meeting attendance or anything like that, but a few meetings per year at least, and some attendance in voting, and definitely for the budget of that would be like the yearly big meeting, or there will actually be several meetings, but still. Yeah. So Nick, Boris, what do you think?
Thank you.
Devil's advocate here. For me, everything is fine. Just want to say that. Nick, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna kind of be precise here, I don't think it's that important that they join community meetings at least several times a year. I don't think that's important. I think what's important is that they participate in community decision making, be it through meetings or through chats. Okay. Where I do think community meeting presence is utmost important and kind of non-negotiable is when there is consensus being passed, and then we encounter disagreement. Okay, at that point, I think the disagreement needs to be talked through in person at the community meeting. That's where I think community meeting is presence is important, when there is these decision making times and there is disagreement, then it needs to be sort of talked through in person.
Okay, that seems fine. Yeah, as long as we get participation that meets our needs, I guess. So maybe we need to set a certain amount. So like you said, Nick, maybe what is it, like one at least vote per year or something like that. But would there be any more, or I don't know. Yeah, I guess we have to think about that.
Think of a person that is paying their budgets, that is not disagreeable, that is just mostly like, at worst they will stand aside, and most of the time they agree, like they trust our decision making process, they agree with whatever the consensus is going for, and they're paying their budgets, like, and at the meetings, maybe let's say they're present but they don't say anything ever, like what's the point of forcing this person to be physically present? If we can just
Right,
kind of
Yeah,
get
excluding
them
that,
to.
excluding that person would definitely be counterproductive.
Well, it's not okay. Yeah, I agree. There's no need to exclude the person if they're kind of like agreeing and they're paying, right? So maybe that's the bottom line. But yeah, interesting points. I guess what's the goal of membership? Because maybe like what we have now is trustees that are paying and trustees that aren't paying. So yeah, I guess that's the bottom line. Like as long as they pay, and that seems fine.
Yeah,
I
I
guess.
think
Oh
I
yeah.
cannot say it often enough, but I think it's very important to think about who do you want to participate in there. This is your chance now um, to be precise about who you want to have in and who you don't want to have in. Not in personal, it's not a personal thing, but in terms of participation and decision making.
So okay, I got some.
I think the minimum could be paying the development budget and their what is required as contributions, and also if they choose not to participate in minutes or decisions, not to object and be agreeable with what others have passed. Yeah, maybe that could be the minimum.
Okay, I realize what would be a person. So, okay, Nick said, like, think of someone that agrees and pays. Okay, those are great. Those are fine. What about people that disagree, but then don't really talk about it? So they might just say, no, I don't like it. And then they don't say what they don't like about it. They don't say, anything. So those kinds of people, we need to say, okay, well, have you completed the consensus 101? Have you done, this and that? And um, maybe that would be eventually kind of like an exit path.
I think Boris is bringing up a great point, and I was actually just about to say this. For example, a person who is agreeing and stepping aside and paying, they could be considered contributing, and that's okay. And they are a full member. But if someone is only stepping in to say no and to disagree and to kind of stop the forward motion in decision making process without otherwise contributing. Now, I don't know how to word this exactly in a kind of short and concise manner, but I'm sure you get what I mean when I talk about it like this. I think that would not be okay. They are just kind of basically causing problems without contributing to the decision processes moving forward in a productive way.
Yeah, I would also like to throw something in there. I think what we're doing at the moment, discussing things, this is much more important in a decision-making process than the vote. Ideally, you put 99% of all the work into making a proposal that fits most, like, everyone. Yeah, and it should ideally get to a voting once it's anyways already clear that it's going to pass. So if you have a lot of people that don't participate in the 99% of the decision-making process, and most people only participate in the voting, you will get a chaos there. That's my feeling. That's my warning that I want to throw in.
And I tend to agree with that. Like the biggest problems we have with the decision making process is with people who do not participate, at least not constructively, in the discussions and the process, but then they kind of vote no and put a stopper to it. So that's kind of exactly what I said. Also, if we can word it somehow that it makes it clear and you know, in a, I don't know, in a non-confrontative way, also in non-confrontative language and non-violent language, of course. And have to be, if you are to disagree or vote no, then you also have to be participating in the process leading up to the propositions or something like that.
Yeah, what I was suggesting to deal with a stubborn person like this is to have them attend the meeting to kind of, at least sort of breach the constraints there, because we'll be able to hear each other's tone of voice. We'll be able to, have other people chiming in and weigh their opinion. So it's different than having like a in-personal chat, but it's not necessarily a bulletproof system either, because what if we just end up arguing in the chat room here, in person? So it's not a bulletproof solution, but if you guys think of something to add to this or work with this, I'm all ears.
Okay, so check. I added just some idea there. I don't know if anyone saw on the screen or in the document there. So if disagreeing with decisions, must work to find solutions in meetings, online or in person. And then I think maybe separately from this, when we work on the exit strategy or whatever exit, I don't know how to call that, but then we can decide like, well, if there is disagreements and no follow-up, no meetings, then a certain kind of like grace period. If it continues, then maybe the member becomes an exited member. I'm sure the wording can be improved. Or
something like that. Of course, we can always improve the wording, but this is a great discussion. We're kind of coming up with it, so we don't need to have like a perfect wording from the get-go, so to speak. I like the discussion that we're having. I appreciate this a lot.
Yeah, so far I think it's been pretty productive. We're at about an hour and a half now, so I think we can shelf it till the next meeting. Would you like to do another one Sunday or just Thursday?
Sunday is great for me.
Yeah, I'm available as well.
I could also join on Sunday.
But if I am now, I don't have to join every meeting, of course. It's it has to fit for everybody. But it's the same Sunday. But it would have to be like at the earliest, like 1 o'clock Ecuador time. 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock.
Works for me.
Cool. All right. Very good. So let's what do we can we just say what we're going to do on the next meeting?
Yeah, I think what we should do is we should work on these two proposals so we get to this 99% where we are safe that it will pass. Yeah, so what we're doing today, what we did today, it feels like we spent a lot of time for this, but it's also very important. So I think we did a really good job there. And this is a really important point that caused a lot of conflict and confusion in the past, I guess, from what I heard, from what I understand. So making these things clear is absolutely crucial. And we should continue with this on Sunday, trying to push it to this 99% agreement on everything. And yeah, then maybe, yeah, we just go on with this. I would say we shouldn't feel pressure to get to a point. But yeah, maybe we can finish the membership state. Maybe we can finish the role explicitness, discuss it in detail. I think the most important points we've been already discussing, the most critical ones. So that's really good. I wouldn't expect any more other really critical points than the ones we've been talking about. And then, yeah, we could actually maybe next week get to the actual voting, at least in the meeting, if you like. We haven't discussed any of this, but we could include an email voting right for others as well. We could discuss this maybe next time, maybe on Sunday already, maybe on Thursday, and see how we actually want to vote. Maybe write that also down in a separate proposal, because that's also a very important thing to be explicit about it. And yeah, we will move on with everything. I have a really good feeling. And thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you.
Add a
Alright,
few
thanks,
things and
everybody.
I'll
So,
highlight them. Yeah, go on.
no, you continue first.
Yeah, just I had, so now I'm at the computer, so I'm gonna add a few things to this transitional membership, and I'll highlight them green to see. I guess that'll be the discussion for the next meeting as well. Yeah, well, what I think should also be the exit strategy to think of like that, but then whatever else Stefan said, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, I would generally invite everyone who wants to make contributions in this document to make these contributions and highlight what you're changing. Also, things you delete, mark them red or something, and add like in another color what you want to add. Just that it's transparent. You can also add comments. You can mark text and use the function to add comments. That's also really good. Yeah, everyone who wants to spend time on this, I think it's a really good thing. Just, yeah, try to be transparent about your changes, and yeah, next time we can talk about all of this. That's a really good thing. Yeah. Great.
All right. So what was the time we set now for Sunday?
As it works for you, would that be 1 o'clock or you prefer later?
I would prefer 2 o'clock actually, but of course, I mean, it's not all about me. It has to work for you guys also. It's
I
just
think
that
it
I will
works
be
for
having
me.
a dinner. So
Yeah, it's no problem. I think 2 is good for me as well.
Yeah, I'm fine as well.
Yeah, good. Good for me too.
So yeah, sounds good. 2 o'clock Sunday, and I made a few updates and notes, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Perfect.
all right, perfect.
Then see you guys.
Thanks for a productive meeting,
Bye-bye.
and see you guys.
Thank you too.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.